Hello, Marks, and welcome to the Mark Remark, the only wrestling show that has a shallower mid-card than Raw. That's because it's just me. My name's Martin, and within the time it took for me to introduce myself, Sasha has dropped the women's title to Charlotte a total of 6 times. What's that? Make that 7. Last week on Raw, Kevin Owens defended his Universal title against Seth Cripplings, who was almost rolled after Owens powerbombed him on the ring apron. And since the WWE announced team has been super vague about how hard that part of the ring is, I'm just going to assume it's the second hardest part of the ring. I mean, feel free to fact check me on that one. This move once put Sami Zayn out of action for months when Kevin Owens used it on him in NXT. But unlike Zayn, Seth Punchings is able to roll with the rolls and recover in just 1 week. I really need to think about retiring that joke. It's just getting confusing at this point. At the top of this week's Raw, Chris Jericho had his BFCFF on the highlight reel, and together they expressed exactly how any wrestling fan outside of the United States feels during an American national holiday.
Why don't we just ignore these silly USA chants?
Kevin Owens subliminally explains how most smarks will view him during his upcoming feud with Roman Reigns.
The face, right here. The face!
Chris Jericho denies all claims that he helped his friend Kevin Owens retain the Universal title against Seth Rollins last week, insisting that it wasn't him in a Sin Cara mask at ringside. This matter is made all the more confusing, of course, when you realize that Sin Cara is Spanish for Chris Jericho. Jericho and Owens are huge fans of obscure ITV political satire from the 1980s.
And can you believe how realistic that mask looked?
Spitting image.
Amazing.
We learn which emoji is a surefire way of summoning Roman Reigns.
No, he's, sad face.
I wonder whose entrance music would play if I texted somebody the shit emoji. Well, that makes sense. Roman Reigns comes to the ring and challenges Kevin Owens to a match for his Universal title at the upcoming Raw pay-per-view Roadblock, which makes sense, as Roman has been out of the title picture for quite some time now, and it's not like he has anything better to do, like, I don't know, defend his US title, you know, the one he's had for a few months now, and you know, maybe defend it against more than one person in a 3-month span. That would be a thing. Remember when John Cena won the US title from Rusev and then spent several months defending it week after week on a consistent basis against all comers? This is just like that, except instead of saying, "You want some? Come get some," Roman is saying, "You want some? Well, so do I, and that's somehow more important." The acid Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns dropped earlier finally kicks in.
Did you just say that me as WWE Universal... Whoa!
Roman Reigns recounts how many times he's main evented Raw while being in the mid-card.
The week before that, and the week before that, and the week before that.
Stop it! Enough!
Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens have a falling out backstage, but fortunately for them, Commissioner Mick Foley arrives to smooth things out with a suitable amount of fanfare.
You're gonna regret saying that.
No.
Kevin, as far as you're concerned,
That noise you just heard was the sound of Mick Foley literally being dropped haphazardly into the storyline. Braun Strowman takes on R-Truth, who has officially jumped the shark as his gimmick now allows him to body switch with his opponent.
The cover by Truth and the 385-pounder picks up the win.
Sami Zayn comes out and tries to confront Strowman, only to be brutalized by the giant beardy baby man. Mick Foley sees this happening and, true to his word before the brand split, doesn't get involved and doesn't distract from the action whatsoever and allows it to continue. Oh no, sorry, he stops it for the 2nd week in a row because one of his pro wrestlers who gets hurt for a living might get hurt. Sami is incensed by Mick's coddling, and Mick proves once and for all that he can still sink his teeth into a promo with the best of them.
He will destroy it. You want it?
He will destroy you.
His teeth had other ideas, however. The WWE promotes 205 Live, the cruiserweight spin-off named after the number of fans still left in attendance once they realize that SmackDown Live has finished shooting for the day. Big Cass accidentally let slip how Enzo Amore spent most of his time in the early 2000s on Instant Messenger.
Cyber. C-Y-B-E-R.
You're not supposed to tell people that. It's supposed to be a secret.
Chris Jericho and Seth Rawlings have a backstage role as part of cross-promotion for WWE 2K17, where Kevin is unable to come to Jericho's aid as this mode only allows 1 versus 1. Sasha Banks and Charlotte wrestle to a count-out, causing Mick Foley to come out and book them in the main event in a no disqualifications falls count anywhere match for the women's title, because it only makes sense for both competitors in a feud to be allowed to showcase their skills and settle their differences in a vicious, unforgiving match that will leave both forever changed. If they're women, for Sami Zayn and Braun Strowman it would have made no sense.
What the two of you have done has quite simply transcended the women's division. It's transcended Raw. It's transcended WWE.
Well, it certainly transcended the concept of overstatement, starting to see why Mick's teeth attempted to escape the prison that is his head. Yes, the WWE has certainly managed to elevate the women's division. Props to everyone involved for being able to treat the women in the industry with a more progressive attitude. And then Rusev kicks Enzo in the balls because Lana couldn't help staring at him when he was naked because his dick is so massive. So to clarify, feminism is Mick Foley coming out and telling women that they are transcending things while Enzo stands in the background and gets emasculated on national television. Glad we cleared that up. I was starting to get very confused. Mark Henry is starring in a WWE Studios movie starring A-list celebrity Aaron Eckhart. The movie in question is Incarnate, whose plot is a cross between Inception and The Exorcist. Exception, you might say, because this will doubtlessly be the exception to the rule of WWE movies being watchable dreck. This will just be plain dreck. Titus O'Neil takes offense.
That's gonna be my Space Jam.
Hey now, don't go comparing those two movies. After all, one of them sounds like it was conceived by Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens while they were still high on acid, and the other is Space Jam. Cesaro and Sheamus are now the modern-day APA, which means that Sheamus will go on to become one of the most entertaining color commentators of the modern era, and Cesaro will occasionally show up to say damn in Swedish. I presume it's the same word, just with more umlauts. Kevin Owens loses clean in a singles match against Roman Reigns just 2 weeks before their title match at the pay-per-view.
I respect Roman as United States champion. I think he's a great fighting champion.
In that he is a champion that also fights, yes. It's like how I'm an award-winning video producer, in that I produce videos and have also won an award for eating my own weight in Oreos. The WWE shares exclusive footage of Paul Heyman leaving the world premiere of The Phantom Menace.
It was a video game. This guy's a relic.
Much like her boyfriend Zack Ryder, the wait for Emelina is almost over. Sasha Banks wins the women's title from Charlotte in the Raw main event. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at my notes from 2 months ago. Here we are. Sasha Banks wins the women's title from Charlotte in the Raw main event. Oh, sorry, once again, I'm looking at my notes from last month. This is the right script. Here we go. Sasha Banks wins the women's title from Charlotte in the Raw main event. Ric Flair comes out to congratulate Sasha on such an amazing performance, making this the only time in his career that Ric Flair has had a healthy relationship with Banks. Transcending over to SmackDown Live, and Becky Lynch's Irish accent is even more indecipherable than usual.
Seth Russo Wow.
Baron Corbin teams up with The Miz to take on Kalisto and Ziggler, making him the only person in the match whose name doesn't sound like a brand of ice lolly. However, he is still able to give you an ice cream headache when you try to swallow his in-ring work. JBL makes a solid argument.
Corbin hopes to use that steel chair as an implement of destruction as he looks to get gory like a Tarantino movie at TLC.
Like giving Paul Bunyan qualification. Dolph Ziggler and Kalisto.
You're right, John.
Jason Jordan is not only able to suplex anything in wrestling boots, he's also able to destroy anything with a punchline.
I wonder if they know how to levitate. Because we could teach them. You could suplex Bray, you could suplex Randy, and brother, they ain't coming back down. True. Well, eventually they'll have to come back down.
Well, yeah. Dean Ambrose resurrects the Ambrose Asylum to interview James Ellsworth, and the WWE shares exclusive footage of JBL leaving the world premiere of The Phantom Menace.
These people are actually standing up here giving a standing ovation to this creature that Steven Spielberg obviously invented.
Right. AJ Styles shows up and reacts to Paul Ellering's relationship with the authors of Pain.
You know, you'd be better off with a ventriloquist dummy.
And then AJ reveals himself to be a boating critic on the side.
I'm gonna beat you till you can barely stay. No. Better yacht.
Luke Harper and Kane do a reenactment of the Dragons short from the Overwatch series. And then Heath Slater and Rhino watch AJ Styles beat the piss out of Dean Ambrose in a backstage brawl that could be summarized with 2 words. Get him.
Get him!
Still better wrestling commentary than Josh Matthews. Well, that's it from me, but I'll leave you with these inspirational words. Try to find somebody who looks at you the way Cesaro looks at a pint of beer. Catch you next time, chaps. Toodle the pip on.